So what's going on, everyone? Zach Spear here, and what I wanted to do today, so I got Instagram right there. What's going on, guys? Got Facebook up here on the computer, and what I want to do today is, if you listened yesterday, we talked a little bit about this, and I'm going to talk about it again, and a little bit less of a time crunch today, which is cool, but I'm still not going to take any longer. But what I want to do today is I want to record a podcast. So I don't know if you've ever listened to it. If you haven't, I don't know why you haven't, but we run a podcast called Entrepreneur Discovered. You can search for that on iTunes or on Stitcher. It's literally called Entrepreneur Discovered, so 2 words. And it's been freaking awesome. I've talked about it a lot with our email list, and I've been telling people, like, this is probably the #1 thing that has helped us this past year. We've made so many awesome connections with the podcast. We've had some awesome people like David Darmanine of Hotjar. It's a software company that has done $12 million in annual recurring cash in its first 3 years. We had a guy named Mo Abbas, which is the founder of a company called Gen M, which is like literally revolutionizing the education system. This dude started, created, and sold a $20 million business by the time he was 27 years old, and then got into disrupting the education space through technology, which is freaking nuts. We've had pro athletes that have transitioned into business and been in business for like 30 years, running multi-million-dollar businesses. We've had Olympians on the podcast. Some of the people coming up in the next couple weeks, we've already recorded them. We just need to have them get out of editing and actually be launched. One is a guy named Wilco De Cray. Well, if you're in the online marketing space, you should probably know him. He has some amazing softwares. If you're into Facebook ads, like you need a software, it's called Connect.io. He has a software called UpViral, which kind of like helps you create virality for your content. And he has done very, 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 very well for himself. And then we have Perry Marshall on, which it was super awesome. Got to do that one in person. So Perry Marshall, if you don't know who Perry Marshall is, as Darren Kennedy says, it's unforgivable. Perry Marshall is like the godfather of Google AdWords. He literally wrote the best-selling book on Google AdWords. I have a bunch of his books up there. If you've ever heard of Entrepreneur.com, he is one of their publishers for Entrepreneur, meaning he writes stuff for them. Literally probably one of the best living copywriters today as we sit here right now in 2018. He also wrote a book called Evolution 2.0, which is helping to break the deadlock between Darwin and design. So he comes at it from a extremely scientific point of view and says, you know what, hey, evolution is one thing, design, like if you believe the world was designed, is a totally other thing. But in fact, I don't think they're actually quite 100% separate. And maybe, but he doesn't come at it like, hey, here's the answer. It's like a discovery process. So he wrote that book called Evolution 2.0, and that was absolutely awesome. So anyway, we did an interview with him. That'll be launching next week, and then we're doing a follow-up in a few weeks on our original conversation, which was super cool. So that's awesome. But what I want to do is I kind of want to fill in the gap a little bit. So right now, we took a little bit of a break on the podcast for a few weeks just to kind of give us some time to collect everything and reset for the new year. And so what I want to do to not leave anybody hanging is give you guys my reflections on 2017, and then actually we have a few podcast interviews that I have in the wings for times like this. But I figured, it's good to kind of just give a break, so that's all good. So for those of you live right now, Instagram and Facebook, what I'm going to do here is I'm basically going to start the podcast, okay? So I'm going to start it as I normally would, and we'll then go back in and add the intro in and stuff later. And so I'm basically going to talk to podcast listeners, and then you guys on the live streams can just join in at the live part, right? So I'm talking to the podcast listeners. I'm also talking to you too, but I'm going to be referencing them. Cool? Awesome. Well, welcome back, everybody. Zach Spear here, and super excited to have you here today. It's been a few weeks since we've all chatted, and I hope you have enjoyed some of the past interviews. They've been some of the most fun times for me, and as I've mentioned before, doing the podcast has been probably the single most valuable activity that we have started and been consistent with in 2017. and we've got some amazing connections from it. It's just been absolutely freaking awesome. So if you haven't taken my advice yet and started a podcast, like just do yourself a favor and do it. You're not gonna get a ton of, it's not like it's gonna explode your business. It hasn't exploded mine, but it has given me lots of good connections that if I tapped into them could likely make a big, huge dent in our business in a good way. So speaking of good things that happened in 2017, what I want to do today is talk to you about 2017 for us. So every year, Ashley and I mean, we've just been married just over a year, so it's been a me thing that I've always done, and Ashley's done it to an extent as well. But I was taught by a mentor of mine to reflect on the previous year, like for real. A lot of people said New Year's resolutions, and I'm not saying that I don't do that. I mean, I really don't though. Like, I set resolutions every week, and I stick to them. Or I try my best to stick to them. Let's be real. But at the end of a year, it's a really good time to take some time and look back and say, okay, what went well, what didn't go well, what can I improve? And so I've always done it. I've always taken between a day and 3 days. Literally, I don't do anything else for that day to 3 days, and that's what I do. And when I had a job, it was a little more tough. I had to, I basically had to like leave work on Friday and do it like Friday night, kind of take some time to decompress, and then Saturday and Sunday wasn't doing anything besides that. And of course, it's a little bit more tough to do that because you've only got 2 days off. I get it. So that was usually when it was more like a day and a half type of deal. When you don't have a job, there is still pressure to get things done, but I definitely recommend that you like create the space that you need. What's something that I've found out about myself is that every 3 to 4 months at the most, like I need a few days to just like shut everything off. I need to sit alone in our like study room with a whiteboard, some notebooks, and I just need to just decompress, sit there and get my thoughts on paper. Even if I don't come up with anything great, I just need to like decompress my mind, right? So one thing that we did really good in 2017 is we're much better than any other year, is I kept a pretty consistent journal. I've kept a journal since 2010, but it hasn't been overly consistent. Like when you look back at previous journals, like I was really good at taking notes, but not great at keeping a journal. So sometimes there's like multiple months gap, but 2017 was the first year that there's probably like out of 365 days, I probably wrote something, probably 250 of those days is my guess, which is not too bad. Basically, it's almost every day aside from weekends. So what that does is it allows me to look back on the year with a really logical set of eyes and not like an emotional set of eyes. Like, oh, this went really good, but in fact it didn't. Or this went really, really bad, but in fact it didn't go that bad. It was just one like little tweak off. And so what I did for the first day is I went back, or for the first good portion of this, is I went back and I looked at every journal entry. I read every single one and made notes on all of them. And then compiled it into like, hey, here's the highlights, right? And then I went back and I answered my questions: what went good, what didn't go good, what can I improve? So I'm going to basically walk you through some of this. I'm not going to go through every journal entry because that's craziness. I'm not going to walk you through even all of my highlights because that'll take forever. But I will walk you through what the year held for us, what we did good and what we did poorly, and what we see in 2018 and what we want to actually do. Now, I will give you a quick little heads up that there are a few things that we just flat out can't announce. Not because I won't share them with you. It's not because they're deep, dark secrets. They're not, honestly, if we had skeletons in the closet, I think the best thing to do with those is to let them out so that you can be more authentic. So it's not that I don't want to let you into certain parts of my life, but just there's a couple things that if we made it known, it would not be good. It would just not be a good thing for the people that it would impact. So that's kind of a surprise. I will tell you about those things, but just there will be a few things that I gloss over, and those things you will know, and they're actually really, really freaking exciting. But I just can't tell you about them yet. So just so you know, that's about to happen. Okay, so let's jump into it. So on December 29th of 2016, so this is like a couple like last day of the year or so, or excuse me, last day of the year of 2016. So we did something called the prayer of petition. So if you don't know this, Ashley and I are pretty spiritual. We're pretty rooted in our faith. We are, card-carrying Christians, if you will. There's no cards, by the way, but we are very, very rooted in that. Now, if that's not you, by all means, it does not matter. Like, we do not judge you at all. In fact, like, we love, like, we have tons of friends that are, of all different faith walks, atheists, agnostics, all different kinds of things, and we absolutely love them all. So I'm going to talk to you from my perspective, the only perspective I know how, because that's what we believe. But just because I'm saying this doesn't mean that we can't hang out. So the first thing is we did something called the prayer of petition, and what that is essentially it's dissecting the Bible in a way that allows you to pray for what you want. So the Bible is full of different promises that say, hey, if you ask me for this, I'll give it to you. If you ask me for this, I'll give it to you. If you ask me for this, I'll give it to you. And most people don't know that, but what this prayer petition book does is it basically breaks down those promises and shows you just where they are in the Bible so that you can pray for things that you know are in God's will. So a lot of people think like, oh, I don't know if I should do that because I don't know if it's God's will. It's like, well, it's written right there, like, obviously it's God's will. So you can say, hey, I can pray for this because I know it's in God's will. So one of the things that God says is, like, I want you to, above all things, I wish that you may prosper. Or if you ask anything in my name, I will give it to you. So we ask for things, right? So on December 29th, 2016, we did a prayer of petition for a new MacBook Pro. So we could have gone out and bought a brand new MacBook Pro, and that would have been okay. But we quite honestly didn't really want to spend $3-4 grand on a new MacBook Pro because we just got a bunch of stuff and we're moving. So I made a prayer petition for it, basically, okay, God, can you give us over and above our income? Can you give us extra to go buy one? And so we prayed that, and by, I believe it was February, or maybe it was even earlier than that, maybe it was January, we actually got the, wow, that's Alexa. Alexa, stop it. Unbelievable. So by January, February, oh, I know what that timer's for. I guess it's gonna have to wait. So by January, February, we had a new one, and we got the money for it. And what's really, really cool, it was a fully spec'd out $4,500 MacBook Pro, and we got it for $1,000. And I've had it for a year, and it's been freaking awesome. On January 1st, we made a prayer petition for a family member of ours that was in a pretty, I don't want to say not good relationship, but the person that they were in a relationship with was totally not of the same faith as she was. So this family member of mine is a Christian as well, and there's not a whole lot of rules with like rules shackling you into anything with a Christian faith walk. It's really just hey, basically don't have sex before marriage, right? And which is good advice all the way around, by the way. So even if you're completely agnostic, that's okay. It's not bad advice, period. So it's really that rule, and the second rule is be equally yoked, meaning be of the same faith. Marriage can be tough enough if you're trying to walk, if my values say this, this is the way I make decisions based on promises that I find in this book, and you're following this book and they're contradicting, we're obviously going to drift apart. So one of the only other promises, one of the only other rules, if you will, of relationships in the Bible is to be equally yoked, be of the same faith. Well, this family member and this person were not equally yoked. And so my prayer was I was having big time angst about this. This is not a good thing. So at the end of the day, this family member, it's their life, not mine. So I can't make a choice for them, and I can't be mad at them. I have to accept this guy if she likes it. If they get married, I have no choice, but I can either accept him or I can push him out of my life, and I'm not willing to do that. So I have to accept him. So my prayer was God, help me accept this guy, or help just work in this family member's heart to realize that this is not okay based on the faith walk she's chosen. So she either has to submit, get rid of her faith walk, or submit to it. And you know what? If she gets rid of it, help me accept that, and help me accept this guy. And so that was the prayer They had been together for 3 years, and I pray that on January 1st and on Thanksgiving, they cut all ties. And so, I'm not saying that's necessarily a victory. I know there's a lot of pain involved with that, but you know, that was my continued prayer: work in me or work in them. And He worked in them, and He greatly strengthened the faith in that family member. So I'll kind of bust over a few things here. On January 19th, one of our funnels went kaboom, like it just freaking went boom, just took off. It was awesome. I'll talk about that more in a little bit here, but we were getting 4-to-1 returns on that thing. So, you know, if we were spending, $100, we were making 400. If we were spending 200, making 800, et cetera, et cetera. It's pretty awesome. On January 31st, 2 of my close friends recommitted their life to Christ, which was awesome. I have made a plan to give 90% of my income away. Or our income away. We have 2 main missions in life. One of those missions, if we want to make $100 million annually, which we are far away from, by the way, but wait, that's what we want to do. We want to make $100 million annually. We want to give 90% of that away. So we want to give $90 million away to our church and causes that we care about. And I don't think that God is going to bless someone as easily if they don't have a plan to do it. So basically what I did is I did a math equation that allows us to give 90% of our income away and still survive and actually know what it is. So obviously, let's say we were making $50,000 right now. If we give 90% of the way, we'd be screwed. If we made, if we made 500 grand last year and we gave 90% away, we would be still basically screwed. We'd be really, really tight on money. So there has to be a stair-step plan, right? So the way that we have it set up is from 100K to $1 million, we'll give an extra 2% for every 100 grand that we go up. So from 0 to 100K, we give away 10%. From 100K to $1 million, we give away an extra 2% for every 100,000 we go up. So from 100,000 to 200,000, we give away 12. From 200 to 300, 14. 300 to 400, 16. All the way up to 20%. And then from 20% to 90%, so from 1 million to 100 million, we give away 0.0767% extra for every 100K we make over that. So by the time we hit 86%, or 90%, excuse me, we'll be giving away 86% of our income, saving 4% for taxes, which is actually 40 to 50% when you think about how much we're left with, and then we'll live on the remainder. Does that make sense? So we made that plan. On February 9th, we made a prayer petition to sell our house. And we didn't think we'd actually make any money on this, to be honest with you. We were just excited to get out of it, get out of the city. We were downtown Chicago. We were just excited to get out of the city. And the market was going down. And we were in an interesting spot. We were in a nice neighborhood, but literally we were one house away from the next neighborhood. In the next neighborhood, our house would have made $50,000. In the neighborhood that we were in, one house over, we were lucky if we were going to break even on it. So I made a prayer petition to make $20K on the house, and we did. We made it. Actually, within 4 days of listing the house, we got 4 offers and took one of them, and it wasn't even the biggest one, and we made some money on it, which was great. And so that was cool. The same week, I actually talked to a guy named Simon on the phone. So he was a customer of ours. He's a 48-year-old guy. And for every 6 months, he told me he had an entrepreneurial idea, but he never pursued it until 47. And now he super regrets it. And now he made it his mission in his life to help others avoid that regret. And I remember talking to him, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, dude! I never want to live that. I never want to pursue the goals that others have set for me that I didn't set for myself, because stuff like that happens." And that just was crazy. So I'm going to start speeding up a little bit. Our funnel started to fluctuate. We'll get to that in a second. There is a little bit of sadness about leaving Chicago, and I got over that pretty quickly. By April, I started keeping a journal in Evernote as well. So before, this is all physically in a notebook, and then I was transferring it, but then I started doing one in Evernote as well. Had a really good friend of mine get married in May. Found a brand new church in May that we love. We were on a church hunt for a long time, and finally found one that we really, really liked and enjoyed. Got a few things that are exciting that I can't tell you yet. A couple surprises. So that'll come soon. In June, I read a book called, what was it called? Oh, jeez. It was like a minimalism book. I'm blanking on what it was, but it's a white cover. It has like black squiggly lines for the drawing on the cover, and I feel ridiculous for not remembering. But basically, it was talking a lot about taking the clutter out of your life and being hyper focused in the areas you should be hyper focused in. It's probably one of the most impactful books I've read this year. Got some more exciting stuff that I can't quite surprise you with yet, but it will be a fun surprise. In late July, one of my assistants quit, which was super disappointing. She was like the best ever. She was so good in anticipating what needed to happen, anticipating needs. But our funnel had, like I said, exploded. We had tons of customers coming in from that funnel, and I I probably didn't do a very good job explaining like what customer service was like with all that stuff, and I don't think she really enjoyed the customer service, but she was great. So definitely, if you got people working for you, do your best to keep them, because I still have not replaced her with someone of equal value. Oh, and in August, I did not run this, but I went to the Hood to Coast race, which is a couple 100-mile relay race from the top of Mount Hood in Oregon, which is a mountain, all the way to the coast, the ocean. And so my dad is an avid ultramarathoner, if you did not know that. That's what he does for a living. He runs psychopathic long distances and raises money for clean water in Africa, and now he works with a charity organization called Team World Vision, and they are growing insanely fast. It's the fastest growing endurance-based charity on the planet right now. So I got to go to Hood to Coast with them, and I did not run. I drove the van, which I thought I was getting off easy, and they kept telling me like, dude, you're not getting off easy. I was like, nah, I'm just driving a van. Well, the way it works is it's a 200-mile relay race with 6 to 8 people on a team. So if you do the math on that, and it's only I forget how long you get, less than 2 days. So if you do the math on all that, like, you don't stop. You're going for 2 days straight. So for 2 days straight, I drove this van, like up and around mountains and crazy places, and I did not sleep for like 48 hours. I was completely shot when it was over, but it was absolutely awesome. In September, Ashley and I sat down and talked about our life philosophies, and so here's what they are. Our overarching philosophies is: number 1, following Christ / the Bible. Number 2, give at least 10% of all profits with a plan to give at 90% of it as income increases. Number 3, business relationships that affect our spiritual mission and commitments are aligned with Christianity. Putting that into actionable things, the most important thing is following Christ / the Bible. The second most important thing, having a tight family. The third most important thing is building a secular platform to lead 100 people compounded per year to Jesus and helping other people grow emotionally and spiritually. So let's say if we bring 100 people to Christ in 2018, we want to bring 200 in 2019, 300 in 2020, 400 in 2021, etc. Number 4 is financial success, taking care of our family, meaning money is never an issue in any way, and giving to others abundantly. Number 5, helping people grow financially, and number 6, helping reshape America. Got a cool quote for you. September 21st, some people stay physically diligent to stay mentally lazy. I found myself doing this for quite a long time. And then quite a few other things. I started 6 new routines for my day. I'm on routine 6.0. So yeah, I have 6 new routines that I found out. So far, my best one is the one that I'm doing, because I keep changing it and keep trying new things, but I tried 6 new ones this year. And my routine basically starts in the morning at like 6:30 a.m. and lasts till probably 11 or 12 p.m. And then from there, it's just a free-for-all. But that's kind of keeps gets me on the right mental track. So what went well? Ashley and I had an awesome first full year of marriage. We had only one small, loud fight, meaning we only had one actual fight where we raised our voices, and it was over within probably 60 seconds. Everything else was very thoughtful and cordial. Hey, I disagree with that, but why do I disagree with that? And let's talk about this in a legitimate way that furthers our relationship and stuff like that. So one thing that I heard that was really great is if we are disagreeing or arguing about something, one thing that I have to remember, that we have to remember, that I have to remind us is that we are on the same side. It's we're on the same side. The problem is out in front of us. The problem is out there. We're on the same side. It's not me versus you. It's me and you versus the problem, and that has helped us immensely. We got a new cat. That was hilarious. Funny story there. A whole family that was here last year is still here this year and very healthy. And I'm far from perfect on this, but this year is probably the most present I've ever been. So, meaning if I am here in the moment, I'm not thinking about the future, I'm not thinking about the past, I'm here right now. And if I want to be thinking about the future, I think about the future. I want to think about the past, I think about the past. But if I don't want to do those, then I'm here. Started the podcast, I've already told you that was a great thing. Another part of a surprise that I am going to wait until later to tell you. Sold the house at a profit. We lean on God for all of our needs financially and emotionally, at least most of them. This is hilarious. We set up a budget finally. So literally since Ashley and I have been married, we have just not had a budget. It's just been we don't use credit, but we just there's money coming in, so we just buy stuff. Now we are probably the most boring freaking people in the world with this. We don't buy freaking anything. I'll spend I won't even count the cost of buying investments, investments or assets. I don't even count it. I just do it. If we're buying anything liability wise, I mean, it's pulling teeth for me. I bought a hoodie 3 weeks ago. It was $25. It was a $25 hoodie, and I was thinking about it for 20 minutes. I was thinking about buying this stupid hoodie. I was okay, I just gotta either put the stupid thing down or buy it. It's $25. It's no big deal. We'll buy books and trainings, and we'll invest in stuff. Not even thinking about it. Doesn't even cross my mind to spend $100 on a few books. Not even a minuscule thought. And I'm freaking out over this $25 hoodie. So it was super funny. But we both decided to finally set a budget, so we don't have to feel so freaking guilty about buying a hoodie or buying a coffee. That's a me thing. I think I inherited that from my dad. He's just really good at finding deals, and I don't know what it is, but it's just in there, I guess. We get to give a fair amount of money to some causes that we care about, which was awesome. We get to do that. Ashley and I made the biggest single dollar amount investment into one thing that we've ever done. We made a $15,000 investment into our agency on one particular thing. And probably the coolest thing as far as our network marketing business goes is we started very actively leading with a spirit of appreciation rather than expectation. The way that I was brought up in the business is that I was taught that it is a privilege for you to be on my team, basically. So, I was basically taught it's a privilege for me to be on your team, right? So then when that's translated, it's hey, you should feel lucky to be here. And so I never said those words because that's the most terrible thing to say, but it comes through in your, in the subtone in your words and in your actions. And so to be honest with you, we had horrible retention. Industry average in network marketing retention rate is 10%, which is what we had. We had 5 to 10%, which at industry average it's fairly normal, but it still sucks a lot. That's horrible, especially if you're trying to impact them long term. So we changed some things, led with a spirit of appreciation, slowed down our process, and what's been really cool is a lot of people have adopted that process, and we've bumped our retention rate to, I would guess, 80%. I haven't done the math, so you can't hold me to that, but it's at least 50 for sure. and I think it's probably closer to 80, maybe even 90. So that's been amazing. What didn't go well? Some surprises. The funnel that I was telling you about. So that one funnel that went just kaboom, went crazy. It blew up and then it slowly started to slip. So it went from 4 to 1 return to 3 to 1 to 2 to 1 to 1 to 1 to less than 1 to 1. And that's no fun. I'll tell you how we recognize that and fix that. We had a goal last year of having a $100,000 per month in profit funnel last year, and we didn't get it. I thought that funnel that I told you about that blew up could have been it. It didn't do it. So I made quite a few more, and nothing that we put out there made us $100,000 a month in profit. And so we missed that goal, and that was disappointing. Although I was speaking and praying every day that we would have that 100K funnel, or 100K a month funnel, every single day. And we built one in 2017, built it and tested it, and basically launched it around this time, like this week, last week, that has the potential to bring us 100K a month in profit. And so that's what we're hoping for. But what's cool is, like, if this funnel does it, like, I built it in 2017, like, we built it in 2017, we launched it this year. So, like, I was speaking, we have a 100K funnel, we have a 100K a month funnel, we have a 100K a month funnel, we have a 100K a month funnel, and we might have a 100K a month funnel, we just haven't actually received the 100K a month yet. Another thing that didn't go well is we didn't spend as much as we wanted to on Christmas. We just weren't in a position to get all of the things that we wanted for people, and that's disappointing. You know, like, we're not at a place where we literally don't have to think at all about money. Like, we don't have to think about living, but if we want to, you know, make a bunch of purchase for a bunch of people, like, we do have to still watch that. And so I wish that we were in a position that we could, like, get literally anything we wanted for anyone, and that would be cool. So that's what we want. Goal this year is we want to have that 100K a month funnel. We obviously have others, but we want one of them to bring in at least 100K a month in profit. Something that, I almost jumped ahead. Okay, did that. We want to pay off our house, so either this house or get another house where maybe the weather's a little warmer, and to pay that off. I want to get another car. I'm thankful for it. We've got a nice daily, it's an Acura, daily drive it, it's nice, paid off. I've got a fun car, it's paid off since I bought it. And that's a really fun, 550, 600 horsepower Z, super awesome, but I blew it up. So I got to put some money into it to fix it. And so, needless to say, I've been driving around this freaking Acura, and I'm like ready to shoot myself. I am a car dude at the heart, born and bred, and I'm driving around this automatic transmission Acura, and I'm ready to, like, literally drive it off a cliff. So this year, number one, I'm going to fix my Z, and number two, I'm going to get another freaking cool car. So, like, a cool car that I can drive more often, because the Z is, like, it's awesome, but it's a 600 horsepower rear-wheel drive car from the 1990s. Like, it isn't exactly, great in the snow. So get something that is maybe you could drive it in the snow. I haven't really decided yet, but so get something that's freaking awesome that just absolutely has to happen. Then I want to have more great days, and so I found what I feel like is a good definition of a great day, and it's good, solid work, physical activity, quality time with friends or family, and spending some time alone doing human things like thinking, praying, cleaning, chopping wood, shoveling, cooking, whatever, but doing human-esque things. So what are my goals? Refined, 100K per month in profit this year from a funnel starting in February with less than a 2% refund rate. Pay off the house, get that car I told you about, launch these other couple surprises that I told you about, bring 30 people to Christ, have great days, have more date nights, and that my family and I are healthy. What is the one thing that if we don't accomplish it, we are just despondent about it, like this, the one thing that we want more than anything is we have some goals for a network marketing company, but the one thing is 100K per month profit funnel, because everything flows from that. Our growth in our network marketing business flows from that, because we have processes in place that take those leads and transition them into our business. So yes, our goal is our network marketing business to grow. That is like the big thing. But the one thing is this funnel has to make $100K in profit a month, because with that growth, we can funnel everything else. We can funnel all of the leads into our business. We can funnel, like everything comes from that this year. So that is the one thing. What can I improve? Give Ashley more gifts, more consistent and planned date nights. I have a surprise. And then the last one is, when a funnel works, just freaking crank it. And I've learned this from clients and from myself. There are a few instances where you can just ride something out for a long time. Like I've got a client, we've been running stuff for him for quite a long time, and it's just a consistent click, like, you know, boom, 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 every month, day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. It's working great for a long time. Not all funnels work that way. So when you have something that works, if you get a 41 return on something, dude, blow that thing up. Because what I was trying to do is I was trying to make 5, 10K, 20K a month for 3 years off of this funnel. It doesn't always work like that. The market changes. So if you get something, we're giving you a 41 return, to blow that thing up. Suck every bit of life out of it you possibly can. Bring these people into your ecosystem. You can sell them stuff later. You're better off having a humongous circle of influence, a humongous list, than trying to stretch your funnel over forever. And, you know, suck all the life out of it you can, and then just, you know, then maybe try to run it every month. But make sure you make a lot of money from it the first time. Make sense? So guys, I hope this was awesome. I hope this was helpful. I have, like I said, on this podcast right now, if you're listening on the podcast, I've been doing this live on Instagram and on Facebook. So this has been a lot of fun. But with that, guys, what I recommend that you do is leave today and do a couple things. Number one, start a freaking podcast. Number two, 2017, look back on it. Look back on it, and what did you do bad? What did you do good? What can you improve? So with that, guys, hope you're having an awesome time, and I will talk to you all soon.